Hey guys, welcome to Driftwood and Shine. Today we are going to take a glass vase. This is just like, you can get them at any thrift store shaped like this. But I like the shape. I like this shape. And we're just going to bring it into I don't know if we're going to bring it into what we call the modern century or not, but we're going to make it look totally different. Totally different. No more glass. No more glass. Okay? Now, this is going to be a simple process, a messy process. That's why I've got gloves on. We're going to take Drydex, which is actually just spackling, like you can buy at the Dollar Tree, this is just a bigger thing, and it's pink because then it turns white when it dries, okay? And we're just literally going to take this stuff, and we are going to rub it all over this vase. And guys, there's no rhyme or reason, no right or wrong. You really can't mess it up. I mean, even if you wind up with some spots that you can see through, it's okay. It's okay, just keep going. We're gonna get up on the top of it. Now this does take a while to dry. We're not going to wait on it to dry completely. I want to say, let me just see real quick how long it says. It says ready to be sanded in 1 to 5 hours. So we're not waiting that long. That's okay though, because we're just doing a process that we want to just enjoy. Now, I'm not sure, because this will be the first time trying the paint process on it. You know, we've done this, well, in our paid group we done this, but today we're gonna do another process on this after we get through, and I think it's gonna work just fine. But again, you just rub it, guys, no right or wrong, just rub it however you want it. Now, if you do want it to dry quicker, of course, you want to rub it out smoother. Now, I'm not getting it on the very bottom. See, I'm just tilting my glass up because I'm not going to go down over on the very bottom. But I want all this texture. So I want to make sure that I have plenty of texture for myself. Now, you can do fairly smooth. If you do fairly smooth, then once it dries, you can literally sand it off smooth. I don't want smooth. I want texture. I want it to have a feeling. And you can look, like I could just see right through there that I had a spot, so I could reach over there and get it. You can look and see those spots, guys, if you'll just take your time. Now, this does have a little indentation around the bottom, right down here at the very bottom. So I'm kind of, I'm kind of going to rub that and make sure that I kind of cover in that indentation, because I don't want the indentation there. I want it to be more like a smooth right there. Now, I won't be able to pick it up and let you see it, of course, till it dries. Y'all know that. But now, just go around. See, I see some spots right there. You just have to go around and find all your little spots. Make sure you get them covered in. And if you have like some, in paint I call it big goops. If you have some places, you know, that has a little more on there, you can wipe that down, but it really doesn't matter. And as I'm going, see, as I'm rubbing down, I can put a little bit more, guys, and I'm creating more texture. I'm just putting a little bit more, though. I'm not trying to over flood it. I just want to make sure that I've got all the spots that I can see through the glass kind of covered. So that's all I'm really doing. And then I'm taking my finger down here, and see how I'm just kind of, because I don't want that to be indented down there. Now, we got to work a little bit more on our neck, because we're going to fill in this part too, because we want it, once it gets dry, we want it to all look like mud, like a old piece of pottery we found over in Greece or somewhere, I guess. I'm not sure. But we just want it to look old. And not like a piece of glass. So we want to make sure we have all our places of glass covered so that you can't see that glass. I'm going to stand up a minute, okay? Just so that I can get down in here, get all my pieces. Now, if this was a sped up video, it'd be better, because then I could go and, you know, do the rest of it and then come back once it's dry and do all that. But hey, it's alive and we're just going to go with it. We're just going to go with it. But I'm just using my finger mostly to kind of get all these, smooth out all these things. See, I'm just going to use my finger, kind of fill in some of these places that look like where you can kind of see the glass. Okay, now I think that looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do, I've just got a little bit on there. I'm going to take and just lightly tap around this top. Try to cover up that glass rim. I'm anxious to see if this paint's going to work, guys. We're going to see, though. We have to let it dry first. We'll see. I don't know, with it being pink, you know what I mean? I don't know what it's going to look like when it dries, but I think it ain't going to dry pink, so I think we're okay. Okay. That looks awesome. Okay, take my gloves off. Now we're fixing to try our next thing. Now look, when you clean this up, guys, you have to make sure you kind of get it clean around the edges. And go ahead and put your top right back on it. Don't leave it off at all, okay? Because it will dry out pretty quick, pretty quick. Okay, now this is my plan. We're going to see. This is my plan. I'm going to turn this around and pull this out. This one over here. Now, I've got some metallic silver. And this is just folk art. Come from Walmart, guys. Come from Walmart. We're just going to put us quite a bit right down there. Okay, now I'm going to use my spouncer again. I love these spouncers. Now this time I'm going to use the big one just like last night. And this is going to create more texture, okay? But okay. This is how I'm doing it. I put it in there, but see, I don't have it like running with paint. Then we're just going to go in and spounce it, literally. The whole thing with this silver. And this creates a little more texture, and it kind of lays down a little bit of the other texture that we've already got going on. It'll lay it down a little bit. So it makes it more of a generic look instead of us, you know, using our fingers and kind of manipulating it. It'll make it kind of a generic look. Now we can't get, because this is the way it is, and had I put it up on something, I could have got down to the bottom. But guys, I didn't. I didn't put it up on something. So I'm not even going to worry about getting down to the bottom, because when that bottom dries, it's going to be white. So it'll be just fine. We just want to make sure that we keep spouncing, and you don't want to have, I don't want no circle. You know what I mean? Like, we just keep spouncing. See how it's turning the gray, and then once it dries, it'll be white, so then it'll be gray and all white too. You know what I mean? Like, it'll look really old. But we're not through yet. Now we're just going to keep coming down as far as we can get with our spouncer. Just make sure you don't wind up with a round looking thing. We don't want that. And you know, guys, you find these like mud pots, or I guess maybe you could call them clay pots, like at Home Goods and Wayfair, and I mean all kind of places, and they usually run quite a bit of money. So we're making our own out of just a cheap glass, cheap vase. But you just keep bouncing. Like I said, I'm not getting all the way down to the bottom because, for one, I don't have room. And then once you get that far, then we got to go up to the top. See, it doesn't take long. You'd think it would take a long time, but using these big old spouncers, it really doesn't take long to get it covered. Aw, thank you guys. You are magnificent. Magnificent. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, once this gets a little dry, guys, I can go back and pick it up then, once it kind of dries, and I can color down lower. But I love, I know you can't tell it right now, but once this dries and it has the white and the gray, the silver, it's going to look cool. And it's going to look just old. And then you could even take, listen, you can even take and sand it. Apparently the very bottom of my little jar must not have been good and flat, because it sure is making lots of noise. But I want to go ahead and pounce inside too, because I don't want it all white in there. You know what I mean? Get a little bit more. But you just don't want much on your brush when you're doing it, because then it'll get it wet and it'll take even longer for it to dry. So we're just basically just lightly coloring our mud. Oh, I like that. Now, just take a minute before you stop, because we're fixing to move on now. Take a minute before you stop and just see if you kind of, you know, got most of it covered. And not covered completely unless you want it covered completely. I did not want it covered completely. Okay, now what we're going to do is take this lighter. It's called Silver Gray. This comes from Michael's. It's chalk paint. It comes from Michael's. It's about old. But we want just a little bit of, because we've got silver all over it, right? Silver metallic. Now, it's not going to show up real silver metallic, guys, whenever it dries. It'll show up a little bit, hopefully, but it won't be a lot. But then we want to have, we've got our silver metallic. Well, it'll come out. Then it'll have our white where the pink dries and becomes white. And then we're going to put on a different color gray that's lighter. So we're giving our jar or our bottle, our vase, some dimension. And this, now you can do, when you decide to do this, like Okay. Like if I had mine up high, I think if I had mine up high, you know, to where it was put on something, I really think I would take my light and do mostly like at the bottom, like almost a border at the bottom, like maybe come up about 4 inches and do that, but I don't. So we're just gonna go in and kind of create a, like I want like this whole big fat part to have highlights. So I'm gonna go into my gray paint with the same brush. I'm using the same brush, and we're just gonna give it a little bit of light. And you don't want to keep muddling it because it will muddle. So you just got to do it and then go on. Don't spend a lot of time over the same spot, because if you do, then it'll become muddled, and when it dries, you won't see the light parts. But I'm just doing kind of this fat part with some light on it. And see, that's not taking long at all, because we're just adding our highlight. Oh, I can't wait till it dries. That's gonna be cool. I just keep going back in. Whoops, you can't see me go back in. I keep going back in and getting the light paint. Now I know my light is not very lighter than the other, but I can see it. So I'm gonna have to go back and just make sure that I have it pretty much covered. And I do, because I can see the gray. And you don't want to pounce hard either, guys. Very light touch, very light touch. Okay, I'm stopping. That's it, guys. I mean, simple. Look how quick we took just like a thrifted vase and made it not look, it won't look like glass once it dries, and it's sitting on your counter or wherever you put it on your shelf or your mantle or whatever. It's going to look like a piece of mud, like a piece of clay that came from, you know, like the antique ruins or something. But anyhow, love it. Love it, love it. I can't wait to see it when the pink dries and becomes white. And then we're going to really see what it looks like. Yay! Love it. All right, that's it for right now, but I've got some more stuff sitting here already ready. I've just got to clean up my mess, and then I'll be right back, and we're going to do another craft, okay? All right. Love you guys. Bye.